So the Premier League campaign is over for Manchester United. We finished second, our highest finish since Fergie retired. But how has the season gone as a whole? This is going to be my end of season review and awards. I'm going to look at the player of the season, surprise of the season, disappointment of the season, best and worst moments, and an overall rating. So let's get straight into the video. No surprise for guessing who my player of the season is. It's probably yours as well. But David De Gea, it really has been sensational for Manchester United that we've been able to hold on to him, because it really looked like he was going to Real Madrid a few years ago. They wanted him. He wanted the move. Ultimately, the fax machine stopped it. Thank you very much for a crappy fax machine. But he's grown into, I would say, the world's best goalkeeper. Finally won the Golden Glove this year, most clean sheets in the Premier League, and deserves it. You know, De Gea, we've had the second best defence in the league this year, and it's really had not much to do with our actual defence. It's all to do with De Gea and his shot stopping. He has been absolutely sensational and deserves to be named as Man United's player of the season, as he was at the end of year awards. Now, my surprise of the season is going to go to Jesse Lingard. You look at his performances this year, 13 goals and 5 assists. So much was said last year about Jesse Lingard and his ability to convert chances. His end product this year has improved immeasurably. You look at the 2 goals away to Arsenal, the goal against Chelsea in the 2-1 win, came off the bench against Burnley, scored both goals there, scored both goals in a 2-0 win over Swansea. You know, previously Lingard was known for scoring at Wembley. He's scoring in big games in that occasion. League Cup final, FA Cup final. But Lingard this season has just improved himself. And for me, the most improved player under Jose Mourinho certainly goes to Lingard. And it's the best surprise that we've had, because Lingard is United through and through. I think he was born in Warrington, came through the academy, but he got a lot of hate, and a lot of hatred has gone towards him this season again because of his celebrations or whatnot, his presence on social media. But for me, Lingard, definitely the surprise of the season. I've really enjoyed watching Lingard play this year. He really has thrived underneath Mourinho. You could get a second choice here of Scott McTominay. He's come through the ranks as well. Only really thrown in when injuries led to opportunities, but he's taken that opportunity. Mourinho clearly loves McTominay, and for me, he's shown that he has the ability to be a good squad player for United. Will he grow into a regular first-team player? We'll see over the coming seasons. But with CARRICK leaving, there's a space in that squad for another midfielder, and McTominay will be here next year for United. So for me, Lingard is the biggest surprise of the season, but second choice goes to McTominay. Now, in terms of most disappointing player of the year, I've gone for Matteo Darmian. I think Darmian, remember when he first signed by Van Gaal, that first 7-8 game period, you think, oh, Jesus Christ, it looks like we've signed a proper Gary Neville replacement. Really, really excited. And I think it was Arsenal away when we got torn 3-0. Was it 2 early goals they scored there? Darmian was terrible in that game. And I'm not sure his stock has ever properly recovered. Played fantastic in the Europa League final, I think, when he was left back. He's had moments. But for an Italian defender, the guy is so inconsistent, it's horrific. I think it was Bournemouth away, I was at the game, watching his positioning. Got caught out of position 5-6 times and just couldn't be asked to run back. There's going to be a few players sold this year. Probably Daley Blind, maybe Ashley Young. Well, Mourinho seems to love Young. But Matteo Darmian, for me, first on that list. Has been a big, big disappointment this year. Now, the high point of the season for me was that 3 fixture period that we had. We got 9 points, beating Chelsea at home, beating Crystal Palace away, and beating Liverpool at home. Not simply because we got 3 wins, but the manner of the wins. We came from behind to beat Chelsea. We came from 2-0 down to beat Crystal Palace with a last-minute banging winner from Nemanja Matic, our goal of the season. And then we beat Liverpool at home when Salah was flying. Everybody expected Liverpool to turn United over. We turned them over. Salah was silenced, sitting in Ashley Young's pocket. For United to have done that in those 3 games at that point in the season, it really built excitement. At least not for the fact that it came straight after the 0-0 away at Sevilla. And that leads nicely into what is my biggest disappointment of the season. It's absolutely our Champions League exit to Sevilla. That 0-0, it was followed by 3 great wins. And you go into that game, the second leg at Old Trafford, full of confidence again. And then we're going to get knocked out by Sevilla. An absolutely atrocious performance. And I was really, really surprised by it because Jose Mourinho and European football. For me, it was the biggest match that Mourinho had at United. I expected him to use his experience and everything that he's learned from Porto, Real Madrid, Inter Milan, in European football with United. But it was almost a very naive, complacent performance from United players and manager. And it was an awful, awful exit. And it's definitely the area where United have to improve the most next year. We cruised through in what was a very poor Champions League group, but then we fumbled at the first hurdle. And we can't do that next year. United need to be much better in Europe. And for me, the biggest disappointment is absolutely that Sevilla game. It was awful. Now, the game of the year, Man City away. We've had some fantastic derbies, haven't we? Van Persie's first derby, scored the last-minute free-kick winner. The 4-3 when Owen scored and Mark Hughes, so sad on the sidelines. But that derby that we saw this year, one of the best you'll ever see because of the context of the whole thing. City could have won the title that day against Manchester United. They were 2-0 up. It could have been 5-0 in the first half if Sterling didn't spurn his chances. Man United came out fighting in the second half. Paul Pogba got 2 goals. Chris Smalling pops up with a winner. Chris Smalling, of all players, the player who previously got sent off against Man City. And for me, that was the beginning of the downfall of his career. But then he resurged underneath Van Gaal. But United on that day just didn't bow down. And that's what you want to see from United week in, week out. Coming from behind to beat teams. You don't want to see United losing, but you want to see the grit and determination to turn a 1-0 deficit, a 2-0 deficit, into a 3-2 victory. And had we not done that, that game, the photos and what would have happened of City celebrating winning the title against United would have been some of the most painful memories and images that United fans have ever seen. But we didn't see that. Instead, we saw City feeling glum, winning the title because we lost to West Brom, muted celebrations. Of the 2 evils there, United certainly had the lesser of them. And that was because we came from behind to beat City 2-0 down to 3-2 up. What a game that was. Now, in terms of special mentions, you've got to talk about Michael Carrick. He's now called time on his career as a player, but he'll be at United as hopefully an assistant manager in the future. That'll be exciting. Carrick, what a player to learn from. You know, Fergie made some brilliant signings in his time, but for me, Carrick has to be one of the best ones he ever made. When he was signed from Spurs in 2006, we went on that 3 years on a bounce. Back-to-back Premier League titles. Inside that was the Champions League double with Ronaldo, that wonderful team. Carrick was such an important part of it. And just like Manchester United have never replaced Paul Scholes, I don't think we'll ever replace Michael Carrick. He was just a wonderful craftsman in the middle, the architect of the pitch when he had the ball at his feet, could control the tempo of the game just like a wand. That's what his right foot was. He was fantastic against Watford last game, that ball over the top to Mata. Mwah! Carrick, you will be missed. Really glad you're sticking around and hopefully going to be teaching our youngsters how to pass like you. And also going to go with a special mention to Romelu Lukaku, who would, what is he on, 26, 27 goals now? Has massively proved everybody wrong that had doubts about his ability to do it at Manchester United, to do it at the big, big club. No offence to Everton. But he's done it quite easily. Easily, maybe not, but he's done it. And something that really has impressed me has been Lukaku's all-round game, which I think across the 12 months of the year has massively, massively improved. You know, he's got 7 assists to his name so far. Hopefully comes back in the FA Cup final and bangs in a couple of goals. But Lukaku's all-round play really has improved this year. And with him in the team, United's attack has more substance about it. Without him, we don't have that focal point. We struggle. Lukaku has made himself pretty much indispensable in this United attack. And looking forward to next season, why can't he get 30 plus? You know, were it not for the injuries, maybe he'd already be on 30. Maybe he can still get a hat-trick against Chelsea in the FA Cup final. But Lukaku, for me, well done. A really good, strong debut season. Could it be better? Could it have been better? Of course it can be better. Any player can always play better. But for a debut season, under that much pressure, well done, Romelu. And the final talking point, the end of season review. How do I think Manchester United got on across the whole season? We finished second, yes, best finish since Fergie, but that exit from the Champions League, some of the football we've seen on display, it's not a 10 out of 10 season. We're in the FA Cup final. Could be Mourinho's third major trophy in 2 years. A fantastic start. But what United fans want to see is the Premier League and the Champions League. That's what Fergie made his bread and butter. That's what United have built their reputation and image on. That's what United fans want to see us competing for. For me, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 this year. There's been clear progress in certain areas, but we still, that final 3 out of 10, that final 30%, United have got to close that gap to compete with the elites. Because, yes, we may be seconds, but Liverpool are playing a better brand of football. I think we can all admit that right now. And with the players that this United team have in the squad, we're capable of playing a really strong brand of football as well. We saw at the start of the year, we were banging teams 4-0 left, right and centre. When that momentum went out of United, we struggled to get it back. And we certainly didn't get it back in Europe. So I want to see United make a couple of key signings this summer, let a couple of the players leave, really strengthen this squad and take out any weaknesses. And we can do that properly next year. Why can't we compete for the Premier League title? That's got to be the belief that Mourinho and the players and the fans have. Otherwise, what's the point? If you finish second 1 year, you go for the title next year. Mourinho will be very happy with how this season went. But how will you feel? How do you feel? Let me know in the comments below. For me, 7 out of 10. As I said, surprise of the season, Jesse Lingard and McTominay. Moment of the season, that 3-game period where we fantastic football, coming from behind to win, beating City away, definitely the game of the year. But let me know what your awards would be in the comments below as always, and how do you feel about Man United's season as a whole?